Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, and to every nook and cranny receiving the signals for 100,000 watt transmitter into those magical boxes known as the radio, aka the Howard Reynolds machines. You know, he loves his analog radios. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the one and only internet, formerly known as ARPANET, designed, created, invented by we the people, you, all of you out there, the intellect, your knowledge, your breath, everything else, but now controlled by just a few that we are going to take back. We have a great show for you today. So folks, stick with it. Stick with us because we got a lot to talk about and we have a lot more to offer you. Anyway, before I get any further, let's go to the genios, los geniuses in the El Estudio.
I love being a heinous genius. It's just so much fun.
It's almost as good as
you're
being
not.
a heathen.
Wait. You're not a heinous genius. I was speaking two languages at the same time. Genio is genius.
I know.
So I doubled up on you, brother.
I know you did. And well, thanks to the wonder of tin cans and string.
Yeah, before we get started, though, we have our customary morning wisdom that we always like to hear to my big brother, El Senor Jack Van Bibber. Give me some wisdom, Jack.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing fine, sir.
All right. All I can say is congratulations, Kamala, on an interview well done in hostile Fox studios. I'm betting with Betty. She called you fearless. I'll call you courageous. Courageous Kamala Harris for president.
Works for me. I didn't get a chance to see the interview, but I did see a review of it. So I've got to sit down and watch it. It's got to be good. And that's all I got.
Well, look,
it's
let me
Neil
tell you.
Aquino Day. Oh,
yes,
it's Neil Aquino Day, so we need to get to Neil and see what he's got to say.
I want to bring Neil Aquino, who has some important subjects from two blogs that he's written. Neil Aquino is the founder of the Houston Democracy Project, and one of his great feats that he does is he's out there every single Tuesday protesting. I shouldn't call it protesting, holding the fire onto Senator Cornyn. Let's have a word, my dear brother.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning at Texas and Houston and the Houston Democracy Project segment. We are at Senator Cornyn's office for Senator Cornyn, but also just so that other people see people like themselves willing to stand up for democracy. We're out there every Tuesday, 11:30 to 1 at 5300 Memorial Drive. We just had our 401st week, and it is essential, because the right wants to kick us out of public space. The right wants to kick us out. They want us to be afraid, intimidated, and it's important that people see others like themselves. And I think it's the reality of what we're talking about here is consistent with the theme of some of my blog posts I'm going to talk about. It is essential that people be ready. We are told violence if the right loses, authoritarianship if they win. That's the deal we're being given. It couldn't be more clear. And so in addition to voting, you need to be ready to show up and wherever it takes us. So I want to talk about the Houston Democracy Project. Two posts as a daily blog, and I'm really kind of saying the same thing with both in my way. The first, Travis Herzog, the Channel 13 meteorologist. So I made a post about just sort of two instances of extremism, and it wasn't Travis who was extreme, but he had made a post just basically saying on Facebook, you can't control the weather. We're not controlling the weather. And he got so much pushback, he had to make another post. And he said, beyond the positive comments I got comments pertaining to questions about cloud seeding and different things that I've heard the government do, questions and comments about patents for weather modification, questions and comments about a 2013 CBS story highlighting a laboratory experiment using lasers. So when you hear that, that means someone on the right has put that story out there, and your uncle in Topeka or wherever they are is circulating that story all around. Speculation, often conspiratorial about why I posted the post. I saw some replies saying, if you don't say that, you'll be fired. And then 5 personal insults, profane digs, and derogatory comments. So I just wanted to put that out there. This was here, local. We've all seen probably Travis Herzog and Channel 13. And this is for real. This is for real. I think sometimes we dismiss this. I think no matter how long this goes on, 9 years since Trump came down that elevator, the escalator at his Golden Palace up there in New York, all of the threats of authoritarianism, all of the things, people eating pets. I think there's still a kind of disbelief that this is real. And I coupled that with a tweet from our land commissioner, Dawn Buckingham. And Dawn Buckingham has been brought here by Mayor Whitmire. I guess they served in the state Senate together because there's been some housing funds. And so the money that the state wouldn't give to Sylvester Turner, they'll give to Whitmire to some degree. And the land commissioner, Buckingham, said, this is a tweet, "Those who identify as Christian are large enough to control any election in the nation. If Christians refuse to vote, then it is they who put demonic forces on the throne. Leviticus 18:25, and the land became unclean. I punished its iniquity, and the land vomited out its inhabitants." Now, I wasn't clear. It doesn't matter. Try to analyze it. I'm not. All I want to say is, this is a statewide elected official in the second largest state in the union, and they are telling you that you're a demon. If Christians refuse to vote, then it is they who put demonic forces on the throne. And I just want people to grasp, they're real. This is for serious. They intend everything they say. They have the mechanisms of force and police control and control of the courts to do this. So I want to just stress the essentialness of voting, of sharing the need to vote with your friends. And also, as I alluded to when we talked about the corn, we just need to be ready for what's coming, because this is for real.
Now, that comment, who you said made the comment about Leviticus and telling Christians?
Dawn Buckingham, the elected land commissioner of Texas, former state senator Dawn Buckingham, demonic forces on the throne. So, we know Ken Paxton's willing to send DPS to raid people. We know they'll shoot you at the border. We know they won't extend your health care. We know all this stuff. We know they'll overturn their vote. And we know that our state leaders view half the population, since Texas is almost a 50-50 state, despite the unbreaking, for the moment, Republican control, demons, demonic forces. And that's the kind of language you use when you're preparing for violence, when you're preparing to have any excuse to do what you will to your opponents.
It's interesting because most progressives that I know, most progressives that I hang out with, even though I'm a humanist, that's my religion, if you will, if you want to call it that. But I'm a humanist. I believe in human beings. But most of my progressive friends, they are Christians. So that he's saying, Christians need to go out there and vote. Oh, yep, I believe it. Christians need to go out there and vote. And so do Jews and Muslims. Everybody needs to go out there and vote. But more importantly, I think one of the things that we have to stop allowing is for any particular ideology to think they have command over any particular religion or any particular goodness, if you will. the truth of the matter is the people that I know doing good, the people that I know doing for society, helping others and helping the foreigner, helping the immigrant. Those are people that, again, they don't share the same ideology of the right. In fact, well, I'm not going to go there at this point. I also want to talk about the Kamala Harris interview, but before we get there, I want to go to Bard before I talk about Kamala and the debate on Fox News. So while we're doing that, you can call in, my friends, and let's get this thing rolling. Come on in, Bard. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking my call. I just want, since you had Neil on, to ask him if he could explain about the Houston Housing Authority and this contract for the window unit air conditioners. Amy Davis did a story on it on Channel 2, and it was like $5 million for 1,000 window units. I haven't done the math on that, but that's very expensive window unit air conditioners, and I wonder if Neil could explain this or talk about it.
I don't have the details to I'll just give a brief, broader context. I think that Mayor Whitmire, since he came in, has been talking about the housing authority repeatedly, and it's difficult with Mayor Whitmire to sift through what's real and what's a grudge match against Mayor Turner. Mayor Whitmire has made claims like there was a huge number of vice presidents at Metro, and that wasn't apparently the case. He's making some new claims about how directors within the city of Houston don't have enough subordinates under them, and it's wasteful spending. There are. I'm not saying that the claim about the housing is right or wrong. I think it's part of a larger series of questions that Mayor Whitmire has been asking. Probably some are correct, but you can never be certain with him, that are meant to dig at Mayor Turner, find money, and hopefully he's trying to make these agencies more efficient. And I'm not certain. I don't have the information to specifically talk about this specific issue.
Now, if there's a $5 million contract, if what you say is true, then I don't know about it either, and I'm not looking it up right now. But $5 million for 1,000, the math isn't all that difficult, Bart. That's $5,000 per unit, okay? And that would be a complete riff-off. I mean, I'd like to hear the story, because to me, that isn't just mismanagement. That would be fraudulent, which would mean, in my opinion, the DA should be involved in that. So if you're trying to say something about how a government is run. Look, I want government run as efficient as I would hope you want government run, and wherever there's fraud, I'd like it called out. What Neil has to say about a grudge match between Whitmire and Sylvester Turner is true, and I hate to see grown people do this to the population at large. So we'll dig to the bottom of that. But anyway,
we'd really be served. We'd really be served better if you could take things, Mayor. There probably are decent ideas that Mayor Whitmire has. No doubt there are things that be corrected. We would really be served well if he would stop exaggerating and embellishing. And anytime a story like that comes out, from what I've seen, I watch City Council each week. I read the stories, whether it be the Sports Authority, Metro, housing. He's in on everything, and you can't be certain what's truthful, what's waste, what's a grudge, what's helping a contractor, what's a political agenda, what his donors want. And we'd all be better served if he could still be grouchy and curmudgeonly. I wish he would tell the truth better.
And, these kind of things occur on all sides. And I think they need to be rooted out on all sides, whatever party you are, whatever. There's a big issue with the University of Florida, where the super conservative guy that had that, I can't remember the university, he had to be removed because the budget went from something like $500,000 for travel to $3 million. That should tell you something. But anyway, Bart, thank you. Let's go to Steve.
Hey, morning, Brother Egberto, Brother Neil.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Morning. Guess what Monday is?
What is Monday? Is that the beginning of the election? Early vote?
That is for us, yes. Over here in Texas, the beginning of early. So I just wanted to mention our household's a double sustainer. So thanks to KPFT. But yeah, Monday mornings are early. So if you go to, and y'all mention this all the time, go to Harris Votes, right? You can pull up your sample ballot. And when I did mine, I was thinking of Harry. I love Harry's contributions, but he had mentioned that he's voting for Cornell, and I definitely support his right to do that. But you have to. He's not on the ballot. He is an acceptable write-in candidate, but Harry would have to write him in. So I would talk to Harry and say, do what your heart wants you to do. But in 10 years, people ask you if you had the chance to vote for an intelligent woman of color who believes in their brothers and sisters, or works for their benefit and not just her own, what did you do? And just think about in 10 years what your answer would be.
Thank you so kindly for that, Steve. Anything else?
Oh no, thanks for being here, and I'm going to get out and vote Monday.
Well, look, hey, thanks. And let me tell you something, Steve. Thank you for your continual support of KPFT. We couldn't do it without you, and we have somebody to thank this morning. So thank you so kindly, brother.
Thank you all. Thanks, Neil.
All right. I
Thank
want
you.
to thank Miss Frederick. Thank you so kindly for being a supporter. We are about a fifth of the way there now. If we get about 5 more $10 sustainers, we would be doing very well. So I want to ask you so kindly to give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. Please consider becoming a sustainer. Sandy has been doing some great work in building our sustainer base so that we can have some predictability in the cash flow for the station to bring you on air. Right now, we have Howard Reynolds, who plays double duty, triple duty, quadruple duty to make sure those signals are coming to you, to make sure during hurricanes we stay on air, to make sure those streams stay alive. So 713-526-5738. Know that we have some very hard workers here. Sandy is kicking some AWSs, and we cannot thank brother Jack Van Bever enough for being one of our most consistent volunteers out here. So we ask you to reward the station with bringing these great volunteers together to bring a good set of information for you by calling 713-526-5738, extension number 1. If you hear me a bit down today, folks, I just have some personal issues with it. Seems like I'm going to lose my last uncle. So I'm a little bit perturbed. My father died 14 years ago, and the last one in the chain seemed to be leaving us. I hope not, but it seems to be the case, and it's playing a number on me. Patrick is before I get to Kamala. Let's go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick.
Hey, very sorry for your loss. Imminent loss.
Thank you very much, brother. Talk to me.
The last caller, I want to support kind of what he's saying. People like Harry and Mayor Politics Done Right. I totally understand what their thinking is, and I have voted for Jill Stein twice in the past. But one of the ways I make decisions, because I don't always make good decisions, is I weigh risk against reward. And in this case, the risk is just so great. I'm voting not just for myself, but my neighbors and everybody around me and people that aren't even here yet. And my reward, if I was to vote third party, I don't see what it would be. The risk is fantastic. The reward is I just don't see it. I see why to do it, because this war is disgusting. We've got several things that we shouldn't be involved in, or at least be trying to tap down, reduce, and we're not. And that's, again, I don't agree with that at all. But I don't see this approach changing that at all. The approach should be wait for Kamala to get into office and just hammer her. Don't give her another choice. That's all.
Okay, let me just say this. I want to thank you, first of all, Patrick, for making an important selfless statement, and that is, when you go to vote, it's not just a vote for you to feel good, whether it's sticking it to somebody or whether it is voting how you think or how you should vote, but it's also for your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your auntie, folks that are not already here that would be impacted by a bad result. And I think a lot of people don't immediately get that. And you pointing that out, I think, is very important because it's something that we talk about. Neil and I talk about all the time. We're not voting for ourselves. A lot of us, it doesn't matter who gets elected, given what we do for a life, given what we do to live. It doesn't matter who's in office for all practical purposes, because we can hide, we can stay out of the system. But there are some of our brothers, neighbors, and otherwise that it is a clear and present danger for them, depending on who is in office. And in the case of when we talk about Trump and police immunity, that is actually something against my own body, because I know what police immunity means. It means we are at the whim of the character of that particular officer. It means something. So thank you for that, because again, we have at times need to be selfless. If you want to add to that, Neil, before I jump to Sandy, go ahead.
I'll just say I've become deeply cynical about. I'm not cynical at all about in theory the idea of voting third party in some circumstances. I have to say, Jill Stein and Cornel West. Jill Stein was endorsed by David Duke yesterday or 2 days ago. I have become, there's that famous picture of Jill Stein with Vladimir Putin and Michael Flynn, the crazed military man under Trump. I've become deeply cynical of this group of third-party candidates, what their funding sources are, where they're at. And that the stakes are so high, the mass deportations, the police powers, and again, that'll be right here. Trump is repeatedly talking about using local police. And I also want to say, just before Sandy comes on, to start with a pitch, that if you contribute to politics done right, let's say you contribute to a candidate. What we do here is we're making that contribution to a candidate even stronger by providing the framework of free speech, of talk, of progressive talk. A good way to sustain the candidates you support is to sustain politics done right and KPFT, because we help provide the framework where candidates have a little more freedom to tell about what's actually going on. And so I think this is a donation for helping an overall progressive and free speech infrastructure that advances the values you're trying to share when you support a candidate. So please help us out, and please help an environment of progressive free speech that makes our politics better, politics done right. It isn't just the candidates; it's a whole infrastructure of free media that allows these freedoms we're looking for.
And look, I thank you for saying that because I want to add a corollary to that. Remember, when you give to a candidate and the election is over, The election is over. That money
That's right.
evaporates or it stays into that candidate's account.
Right.
When you give to KPFT, to Politics Done Right, you are sustaining the ability for us to inform, for us to teach, for you to give your point of view consistently throughout the year. So we are consistent. We're always there. Yes, we want you to give to politicians of your choice as well. And I want to add something else to what Neil says, and to remember that, yes, I am a progressive a progressive host, 100%. All right. But the greatness of KPFT is all voices are heard here at KPFT. I want to thank right away Sister Betty. Thank you so kindly for your most kind contribution. I also want to thank Bruce. Thank you so kindly for becoming a sustainer. These are the sustaining memberships that we need to keep this station going. Again, please give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. Please remember to donate in the name of Politics Done Right so that it will be credited appropriately. Let's pass this on to El Senor, brother Sandy Wyman.
Thank you, Egberto, and thank you, Bruce and Betty and Hermina, for coming on board with KPFT. Bruce made a sustaining pledge, as you pointed out, and I didn't say it before, but I'm going to say it now. Once again, for our Need to Feast fund drive in the fall month of October, seeping into November, we are going to be matched with a $50 bill for every new sustaining membership. So, Bruce, your pledge is going to be amplified by a very, very generous and very anonymous donor in our midst that insists that KPFT must continue. And that kind act that you just did is amplified by another kind act. Join as a sustainer for $5 a month. That's a $60 pledge. It will be matched with a $50 bill, or $10 or $15 a month, regardless of the amount that you can part with monthly. You're going to get a $50 bonus on your pledge, and it all comes to KPFT and helps to keep us on the air. Our operating budget is still about where it's been, around $52,000 a month. We've got but one full-time paid employee. That would be Senor Reynolds, because he's got to keep the tin cans and string taut and make sure that we can stay on the air. And for those of you that listen regularly, you know that we've had our difficulties the last week or two. It's not just here at KPFT, it's actually network-wide and falls back to internet reliability. KPFT is in a position now to move forward. We pulled ourselves away over the last 2 years from the precipice. What do I mean by that? I mean $1 in the bank by which to pay that $52,000 a month. We pulled ourselves away. The Sustainer program has made a huge difference. Already we started with $15,000 on this drive, thanks to Sustainers. Folks, if you come on board, if you join your friends and neighbors for just a few dollars a month, you determine what that few dollars is, 5, 10. Not only will it be matched, it will make the future so much easier for this independent, volunteer powered community radio station. I can't speak enough in terms of how much easier it could get. 52,000 people doing $1 a month would power this station. Unfortunately, we don't have 52,000 people doing $1 a month. So if you're listening, you've never made a pledge before, please make that decision to do just that, to support KPFT. We invite you to go to kpft.org, click donate, or call 713-526-5738. Option number 1. KPFT t-shirt, $100. Politics Done Right t-shirt, $100. Pick your thank you gift, but the biggest thank you of all are these independent voices, the community content, your friends and neighbors behind the mic, and not some guy in a suit that lives up in North Chicago sending down the programming that he knows or she knows you would like to hear. Nope, it's done locally. It's right here in the community. 52 and a half years ain't no joke, ain't no mistake. Let's keep it that way. Again, 713-526-5738. 5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. I want to welcome Billy, Allison, Irwin in the chat. Thank you for your smart comments, as well as Eric Hayes in the chat and a few others. Look, guys, I'm coming to you, Ingrid and Joni. Hold with me one quick second. I just want to say something to our audience. What I love about this program is we are a multifaceted audience. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're in the chat on YouTube and everywhere else, everybody intermingling and talking. We have a real community here. I know many of you listen to other programs as well, but when we are here, we have a community of people listening, and we couldn't do it without you. Now we're asking you to be a part of the family, not only in voice, but in finances as well. Just a little bit. Coffees a month, a couple of coffee a month will help us. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, number 2 to talk. You can also go to kpft.org. Please be sure to let them know this is under the auspices of Politics Done Right. Let's go to Sister Ingrid. Ingrid, how are you doing this morning, my friend?
Good morning. I would just like to share this while driving on my way to work and listening. You know, there's a problem because people don't want to vote for Ms. Harris because they say, oh, I don't know her. I don't know where she came from. I don't know her policy. You know, I was born in the late 60s, but in the 60s, I read where everybody walked with Martin Luther King. They marched up and down the roads and streets with him. They didn't know his birthday. They probably didn't know who his great-grandmother was. They didn't know any of that stuff, but they believed in his vision. They believed in what he was fighting for equality and inclusion. And I think we really need to take a look at her and think about, really evaluate in our heart, what is she about? So what if we don't know really where she was? So what if she did never have kids? So what if we don't know who her great-grandmother is? Look at the vision. Because what they did back in the 50s and 60s is what we're living now. So what we're doing right now today is what's going to be in place 30 and 40 years ago. So we should stop being selfish and living for what we want right now today and tomorrow and look further down the road. This thing that they're doing now is not what we're going to enjoy today or tomorrow or even next year. They're putting things in place for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Ingrid, I could not have said that any better. Thank you so kindly for that. But before you go, I want to tell you there are 2 parts to that story about not knowing who Kamala is. And yesterday, one of our regular callers here in the morning actually called into Politics Done Right at 3:00 in the afternoon show. And he gave a stunning reason. I won't say it on air right now because I'm preparing a blog out of what Patrick said on air yesterday because it was piercing. So we'll talk about that some other time during the show. But thank you for those words. Very smart. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
You have a wonderful day. Let's go to Joni. Come on in, Joni. How are you doing this morning, Sister Joni?
Good morning, Egberto. First, I want to thank you for soldiering through some of your hardest times. I know you've had difficulties recently, too, with health problems and your wife's health problems, and you still do this for us, and I really appreciate that. Number one. Number two, Kamala Harris is not just, this person who's very intelligent, has done her, job as a DA. She's got loads of experience. She's got her heart in the right place from you can see from her record and what she's done. I know people don't like what she has done with as a DA, but she has, tried to be fair, it seems to me, from looking in on it. But regardless of what you think about her as a person, the symbol of a woman and a woman of color and of multiple, backgrounds, which is what we need now because that's the world we're living in. That symbol by itself is worth voting for. And I'd like to also add, you have to think about and worry about what AIPAC might do if she were to come out right now, here before the election, and say that she is going to try to work toward. I'm not saying that she has a plan to work with the Palestinian people to help the Palestinian people, but I can only look at her background and say, well, she's got a fair heart. So that tells me that she can't lay it out there right now, or AIPAC would destroy her like they've done many of the other progressives in this country.
Joni, can I interrupt you for a second? Can I interrupt you for a second to tell you, I want to thank you. I want to thank you because you make what we do here on Politics Done Right worthwhile. That you understand the intricacies of politics is so damn important, and that you are able to come out here and tell the audience that, not myself telling the audience, not Neil telling the audience, but a listener telling the audience about pragmatism and Israel, somebody talking about not only pragmatism, but how things really work. Thank you. Continue, please.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. Neil wanted to say something real quick. Neil, did you want to enter something?
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I just want to back up what the caller's saying, and excuse me for interrupting, and I just want to back up what the caller's saying. Under Trump or Vance, which is really what you're getting, they will destroy Gaza. I understand fully what's going on, but they will turn it into beachfront property and investment. I get the pain that people are feeling, but it's a nightmare. While I use these words, of course, we'll live in a nightmare. But it's there'll be no hope. There'll be no hope.
Let me let Joni continue, because you and I kind of took sorry for interrupting you, Joni.
Excuse me. I just want to address the Palestinian protesters who sometimes
I understand exactly, and which is why I don't understand why you have people who claim to be progressives. And I get it. The first time I ever voted Democratic was for Barack Obama. The first time I ever voted in my life, I voted for George Bush Senior, because I didn't know better. I was from a Republican, or mostly Republican family, so I just looked at other things. But so I always voted third party until Barack Obama, because not only it's a symbolism, it's okay, this guy could really get some stuff done, and then and I voted Democratic this last time. Held my nose to vote for Biden. For Biden this last time. And then moving forward, I look at people who are saying that they're going to, take votes away from Kamala. And I'm like, that's a vote. And people used to say this to me and I couldn't stand it. But now it's very, very important. You see the party rallying and excited about a person. Please do not disrupt or destroy the chance of Kamala getting in office by taking votes away from her at this point. Hold her accountable when she gets there. Call her and call your congressman, call your representatives here, but don't destroy her chance. And I keep using that word destroy. It's in my head this morning for some reason. But don't make it to where she can't vote. Otherwise, I question whether or not you really are progressive. Are you one of these people who are put in place to call up to try to make sure Trump gets in office? And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you so kindly, Joni. Billy Allison Irwin, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Billy Allison Irwin in the chat says, hearing a lot of smart women this morning, and we're going to get another smart woman right now. But before I get to her, I want to ask you, we've slowed down on receiving any contributions from you. I ask you so kindly right now to give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, 713-526-5738. Will you contribute $5 a month for, let's say, a sustaining membership, $5 a month, just a coffee a month to Politics Done, KPFT in the name of Politics Done Right? Can you do $10 a month? I mean, think about it. You see the value of what we're doing here. Consider that, or maybe get a Politics Done Right T-shirt, $100. I mean, believe me, the T-shirt don't cost $100. That is to contribute and help the station, right? But again, I would love for you to do the $5 a month or $10 a month if you can. Let me tell you something else. I didn't put this out here yet, but I'm still a little bit behind on it. Patrick is the next person that I'm going to coffee with for his $250 donation to KPFT. And we're going when we go out there, we're going to have Neil and a couple others out there with Patrick drinking coffee.
Sure.
Look, give us a $250 contribution if you have the wherewithal to, and we're going to go out and have some fun drinking some coffee and some other stuff. You want to say something, Neil, real quick?
And I want to say, I've been meaning I wanted to thank you for the interview you did last week with Sarah Terrell and the parent Jessica about the HASD board. I linked to it on my Houston Democracy Project, and I want to remind people that this is local. And that grassroots activism at HISD, providing the platform, that was one of the reasons the Chronicle came out against the HISD bond. This is all local programming. None of this, as Sandy said, this isn't coming from a corporate executive somewhere away. These are local people, your neighbors, and we are really helping provide the framework and the infrastructure. All voices are heard here at KPFT, but providing the framework and infrastructure for some positive things in the community, but it does require support.
And the Chronicle, listen, you notice they said vote no on both of them, A and B.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying.
Sarah Terrell and Jessica, they know what they're they know what they're talking about, and they're activists on this particular issue. So, folks, give us a call 713-526-5738 extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. Select one of the gifts or whatever you can, because we do need your support and we need to keep this stuff going on air. So, yes, folks, give us a call at 713-526-5738 extension number 1 to donate. Like I said, Sandy gave quite a few options. Get the Politics Done Right t-shirt. So one-time $100 contribution, or consider becoming a sustainer. $5 a month. $10 a month, $15 a month, $20 a month. You do $25 a month, you get a brick with your name or whatever insignia you want on it, a 4x8 brick, or you can get an 8x8 brick for $50 a month. And you know what? If you are somebody who has been blessed and have some extra cash to give a big donation, give whatever you can. Maybe close out the day so that we can continue with our programming. Say, hey, I'm going to give KPFT $150,000. They can shut this thing down short and come back with the programming. Or, if you're a more humble means, consider the $250 contribution, and we'll go out with coffee. You'll have coffee with Egberto, Neil, and we have a good time. 713-526-5738 extension number 1 to donate, or kpft.org. And select Politics Done Right. Hit the donate, select Politics Done Right as a program, and whatever you want to give. Let's go to Moses. Moses, how are you doing this morning, beautiful? Our sister Moses.
Buenos días, mi hermano. ¿Cómo está?
Bien, gracias, corazón. Bien, gracias. Talk to me.
Okay. I watched the interview with Miss Harris and that Fox guy. And this is what I came out with. She proved her ability to lead the nation. And one thing, as a teacher who I loved it, she said, I am conducting this class. Let me speak. And she said, she put on her prosecutor robe and met the offender in the tenor of his manner, in the way he is, and turned him over and disarmed all his bravado. Or they say, Fox is going to break her down. This is a clear demonstration of her prowess as a defender of America's values before the tyrants of our time. That is my preview and my summary of what I saw. Moses,
I was supposed to be talking about Kamala from the beginning of this program, and I didn't, because all of you take precedence over whatever the hell I got to say. And I could not have said that any better, but you opened the door for me to add a few things. So here is the deal. Yesterday, I called into Hugh Talk because there's a particular slant that I was hearing that I thought needed some balance. So I called in and gave a little monologue that they allowed me to give. And one of the things that they asked me is if I thought it would be a fair interview. And I said I thought it would be a fair interview because Brett is one of the few reporters at Fox News that's sort of the DC media circle, right? So I thought he would have tried to do the right way. Whether I know it would have been slanted, but I thought he would have at least tried to do it with dignity. He didn't. But what I was more happy about is how she responded to his indignity. How she responded without, forceful, energetic, and factual.
Yes.
And for the answers that she know that she couldn't, that it wasn't prudent for her to answer in details. The part where they spoke about trans, the part where they spoke about these other things. She did not allow that to take over the conversation. She went ahead and said what she needed to say. It's more, she could give full sentences in her response. Right. Let me finish. She could do sentences, full sentences, not only full sentences, but cohesive and analytical results. I thought it was beautiful, as imprudent as Brett was. Continue, my dear sister.
Because again, you see, she understands. She's an intellectual and a professional. She's a student of the law and has practiced it in all its forms. When she says she has gone after drug dealers and all of that, it is not a joke. She understands what it is the nation is up against and how to stand up in the face.
Moses, you've said it all right. I need to get to the other callers, so I want to thank you so kindly for calling in. So we'll talk tomorrow. So thank you, sis. Let's go to brother Johnny. Come on in, Johnny.
Good morning, Brother Egberto, and our fellow time travelers on both sides of the aisle. So to paraphrase Downton Abbey's Lord Grantham, I echo every syllable uttered by Joni a few minutes ago. She is the gold standard of what I would consider to be a decent, open-minded American right-wing person who discovered that she wasn't really a right-winger after all. And one of the things I like about Joni is that she's able to admit when she discovers that she was wrong. That is, to me, the hallmark of a righteous, open-minded American. Citizen, voter, activist. That's what we need to see more of from our fellow time travelers on the other side of the aisle, like Brian. Brian, you're falling behind, buddy. What's going on with you? Follow Joni's lead.
Brian is waiting to talk, so he's going to answer you. Go ahead. Continue, my brother.
Well, I've got a question on a related matter. I've got a question about Jill Stein. So I haven't been following her politics lately. I'm guessing she still talks liberal and progressive stuff. I'm confused as to why. I have a suspicion as to why. I think your guest, Mr. Aquino, said this. Maybe he has the answer. As to why David Duke endorsed Jill Stein. Johnny,
I know Jill Stein personally. I sat and ate with Jill Stein. We were at the Democracy Convention in Madison, Wisconsin, and I sat down and had shared a salad with her. I don't know what the hell has happened. Hey, we only have 10 minutes, so I got to go rather quickly now. But Johnny, let's talk tomorrow when we have a little bit more time. But I want to say something that Johnny... we talk tomorrow, Johnny. I promise you that. But I want to say, when Joni admitted that she voted for George H. Bush, the daddy, right after Reagan, believe it or not, that was my first vote when I became a naturalized citizen. I wasn't steep in all of the intricacies of progressivism and liberalism the way it's played out here. I just did a few things, and I actually voted for George. My first presidential vote was for George Bush. And in my book, I'd said, I got my American citizenship in 1988. It was my first year that I was going to be able to vote for the president of the United States. I took that responsibility seriously. And after doing some analysis, which was definitely flawed, that's who I voted for. Then he invaded Panama. But anyhow, I'll talk about that another time. I tell you what, we only have 10 minutes left. I want to throw it to Sandy. Let's go to Rua and then Harry, then Brian. Rua, come on in. Sister Rua.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Miss, not Mr. I was just calling because I've heard a couple of times now, a couple of people have mentioned that Jill Stein was endorsed by David Duke. Yeah, he did endorse her, but you should also look and see that she actually denounced his endorsement and said, I don't need it and I don't want it. So if you're going to report on one side, you should definitely say what the person's opinion of that has also been. And that's all I had to say.
Well, Rua, let me just first of all tell you, Rua, that is one of the reasons, we're very fair here. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't mention Jill Stein at all, but somebody did mention that, and that you correct the record. That's what we're here for. Okay.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful day. Now let's go to Brother Harry. Come on in, Harry.
Good morning, Egberto. Good morning, Howard. Good morning, Jack. And good morning, Neil. And good morning, Sandy. I want to thank Rua for that enlightening us. I'm glad Jill Stein denounced David Duke. And I want to thank Steve and I want to thank Patrick understanding my reasoning for writing in Cornell West and my brother writing in Cornell West too. And I also want to wish my condolences to your uncle, Egberto, how much longer he's going to be here. And my dad died about the same time as your father. He said he died 14 years ago. My dad died about 13 years ago. I always remember him. But I just have to when I hear Amy do these interviews that she's been doing, the 200 arrests at the New York Stock Exchange with Elaine Stein, because I understand where Joni's coming from with AIPAC destroying Kamala Harris and all that, but I just can't do it. She's on the wrong side of this with Israel. And I don't, even if she were to win, I don't know what would happen with the Judean people over there in this war.
Harry, let me stop you there. I mean, I can't tell anybody how to vote or anything like that, but I want to enlighten the audience, everybody, about one particular issue. Remember this. And before I answer you, though, I want to say, folks, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We do need your donations right now. But I'm going to tell you this, Harry, for anybody who is on I don't know who you are or whatever, whoever is on public assistance, whoever depends on Social Security, whoever depends on all these things, you may say that if you are in a state that absolutely will not vote for Kamala, a possibility of, I shouldn't say Kamala, but for whoever needs to win, that is acceptable. But let me just tell you, if you depend on anything from our government as a middle-class citizen, it is incumbent on whatever you do to ensure you don't harm your neighbor. One of the reasons I will not vote third party, and it's as Joni said, and that is, it's not for me. It's not for my values. It's not for it is because I care enough about my fellow person that I am not going to do it. But Harry, I get your point, and I got to give Brian a chance to talk before we go off air. So thank you kindly, my brother. We'll talk tomorrow. Let's talk tomorrow. Let's go to Brian. Brother Brian, come on in.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for all the volunteer that everyone does. I'll pledge, but I'm going to pledge on Saturday for Nuri. Now, we spoke later this month. Yeah. I spoke later this month about negativism having been Trump. He gets 93% negative comments in the press. But the press decides, no, we're not going to report on anything that makes Kamala Harris look bad, such as her plagiarism in her book. You haven't heard anything about this. Yeah, I don't see it on the news. She plagiarized a book. She actually pasted from WikiLeaks, word for word on and called it her own thoughts.
Okay, Brian, now, real quick, I got to stop you there because I don't want that misinformation to go out there. I've written 5 books. I'm sorry, 5 books. No, stop for a second. I've written 5 books, and I have copied and pasted from Wikipedia into my book. And there are a couple of places where I forgot to put a notation that it was a context from Wikipedia. So that is hogwash. Continue please.
No, so you're taking up for her also, and that's all there is to
Absolutely.
it.
On this case, absolutely. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Now, Barack Obama says you have to vote for her because she's black. When are the Democrats going to get out of the Democratic plantation and think for themselves?
Okay, first of all, that is okay. Brian, stop for a second. That is condescending, first of all, and secondly, that's not what Barack Obama said at all. Again, what I don't understand, my brother, is hold on, I need to thank you so kindly, Alex and Kenneth. We couldn't do this without you. We are now just $100 short. Can somebody do a $10 a month contribution by calling 713-526-5738, extension number 1, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Hey, Brian, I'm getting a hard cut here. You know, you get a chance to speak every day that you call in. Let's talk tomorrow. Studio, please.
Ooh, nothing here. Jack, what you got?
Remember, people, you got to vote.
Vote. That's it. Wrap it up.
Thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how this baby ends. I am what? Out. Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media,